I'm recording the class now. Okay, so remind me if I stop somewhere. I can stop it there. So first of all, what is it? So this class is all about network security threats. And what is the difference between cyber security and network security? I mean, this question always comes in your mind. Mostly people nowadays, there are two different domains in the security area. So cyber security is a subject of information security, while the network security is a subject of cyber security. So information security is another field, but is a subset of information security is the cyber security. So cyber security is more where the practices, the laws, the governance, the policies are defined, and with the help of network security, we implement that. So it is a practice of protecting internet connected system. I mean, nowadays everything is connected to internet anyway from the digital attacks. Okay, it is an act of protecting files and directory in the network of a computer against misuse, hacking, and unauthorized access. So this is more like, you know, it's a data protection. And this is when the transfer, when the machine, from your machine, you are accessing some services inside any of the, you know, network domain. How to protect that information? This is more like comes into the network security. And cyber security is a separate field where you, it's more like a practice. It's like more like where you create some kind of rules, regulation, how to protect our internet connecting system. Also, it protects the organization from all kind of digital attacks from the cyber realm. So it's only come into the where you are connected to the internet. It is all about protecting the organization IT infrastructure from all kind of online threats. Network protection application up to the date information come from under cybersecurity. So it's like a continuously circle where the most up-to-date information, cybersecurity are a specialized field now where the experts are sitting and they are actually watching what is going on in the in the cybersecurity area, cybersecurity side, and they can actually provide this information to further to the network security team where they can implement these devices and protect all the information. For example, recently I'm doing one of the project where for a financial company, they need to protect their internal network as well. So cybersecurity team said, you know, how we can protect the internal network. We want all the traffic going between one device to another device. We want to make sure that the logs has been sent to a different server where we collect all the information and we see if any malicious activity is going on. So as a network security team, they actually, you know, put these kind of network taps or network devices or firewalls, backup, encryption come under all network security area. The cybersecurity professional serves as an expert on the cybersecurity protection, detection, and discovery. The job of the network security professional revolves around the protecting IT infrastructure of the organization. Okay? Any question, guys, up to now? If you have any question. So I know it may not be very well clear, but with the passage of time, it will be clear to you at the later stage. But the main thing is this: the cybersecurity professional serves as an expert on a cybersecurity protection, detection, and discovery. So they are more related to expert on the cybersecurity protection. And this job is network security professional revolves around the protection of IT infrastructure of the organization. Okay, so what are the challenges of the network security? I mean, this slide is quite old, as you can see, 2012. But as you can see, what are the network security challenges nowadays in the world? So for example, we can see there is a data leak. Okay, data can be leaked, employee can make a mistake, incident from the employee own devices, cyber attacks. I think that's not 7% now. and also cloud computing. And this thing, I think, one of the increasing, I think, is more than that now, and an external attack as well. So you can see there are different areas where network security challenges are nowadays. For example, data can be leaked, data can be hacked, information can be stolen from your network device or from your any of the mostly company nowadays. They might not allow you to attach your USB to maybe PC. They might, when you go into the organization, maybe they ask you, you cannot access the Dropbox, you cannot access the email. These are the kind of the things you can see, because the companies are now more reluctant that data cannot be leaked or stolen from their organization. Employee can make a mistake. For example, anybody has an idea what kind of mistake you can do? Shahid bhai? What do you think? What kind of mistake any employee can do it?
Clicking the wrong links. I mean,
okay.
Phishing. I mean, through the emails and.
Very good. Mm-hmm. What else somebody can do? Is if you are a network administrator and you type and you password, for example, or you are Active Directory administrator, maybe you just have, type your password somewhere, or your information, your laptop is stolen and the laptop has been opened by someone else and they can see all the password you have, right? These kind of, also somebody can maybe just put some kind of information. Nowadays social media is everywhere, everybody use social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. So somebody can just mistakenly put some kind of information related to the security company, for example, and they can, outside people can exploit that. Nowadays, like the BOID, these devices are also coming into the network. So employee own device can make some kind of problem in your network. What do you think? Anybody has any experience where an employee, or share any example with me if you have, where employee own devices has maybe a malfunctioning devices, maybe spread the viruses or anything like that into the network? Anybody has an idea? Example? Shahid bhai? Nobody? So I can share you example. I was using a computer with one of the company, one of the client I was working, and I don't know, maybe I visited some sites at that time, and maybe I was watching, I think football match, a cricket match, and suddenly after 20 minutes, within 10-15 minutes, the IT teams comes in and they say, we need your machine actually. Okay, and they actually found that my machine is actually generating some kind of threats to the other machine as well. So that can happen. Okay, cyber attacks, there are nowadays more attacks now coming in from the outside world. Anyway, we can see cloud computing is increasing every other day. We know the Dropbox, Amazon, Azure, all these companies are nowadays are using cloud computing. Is a huge change, the turnaround of your network anyway. External threats are many. We can see later on what are these challenges as well. But the idea is here that just to be aware as a network engineer or network security engineer, your job's to understand what are the challenges today. Okay, and then you can create a strategy where you can understand how we can stop them. Some of the small businesses, if you can see, employ using non-company devices to access the company network, risk from the third-party service provider and supplier. IT department has more important priorities. Maybe they are not busy. Maybe they are not giving time to protect your network. Funding is another issue as well. Mostly company are lack of funding, or they are not interested to maybe invest more into protect your network. Right, this is one of the issue. Struggling to find the good cybersecurity provider or vendor, struggling to find the qualified cybersecurity professionals. So these are also some of the challenges in the cybersecurity area as well for small businesses. So just to understand that where we are and what are the challenges today. And after that, okay, anybody has ever seen this kind of slide before? What is the purpose of this slide? Shahid bhai, what do you think? Usman bhai? So now we have two Usman, unfortunately. So the idea of security, functionality, and ease of use, this triangle means, the purpose of this triangle is to put a ball at the right place. Okay, there are three key areas in when you use a system. There are three key areas: security, ease of use, and functionality. If you put the ball somewhere very close to the security, maybe your security is very tight, it means you are far away from the functionality and you far away from the ease of use. For example, if you are very scared that nobody can actually, you have provided a telephone number to all of your employers, and CEO say, I want to dial a number outside in Japan, but before they dial out international number, if they need to dial 20-digit number every time, yes, it is a good for security, but from functionality and from ease of use, it is not that easy. Okay, so that is why as a network security engineer, your jobs to, if you are going to too much securing your network, you need to understand where you need to put the ball. You need to put the ball at the right place so the functionality and ease of use and the security is achieved at the same time. Any question? No? So if your guys are not asking, it's mean everybody's happy. Good. Now, in the next slide, we are discussing about the goal of the network security. Okay, this is related to security, this is related to cyber security as well. What is the goal? How you can, what if you achieve these things, it means your network is secure. Can anybody tell me that, can we claim that your network is 100% secure? Can we say that?
No.
No? What is the reason?
Because every day there are new threats come in that have not been investigated.
Yep.
Like this requires securing those loopholes.
Mm-hmm.
And then also there are examples for example users may make new mistakes that have not been known.
Yep.
That would be another thing. Other thing would be that the system is getting obsolete. So that requires let's say patching or updating.
Mm-hmm. So nobody can claim that his network or even his house is 100% secure. But what you can do is you can create an environment such where you can minimize the risk actually. Okay. Today, a few days back, a month back, somebody tried to break into my house. Even I have one of the best alarm installed in my house. But because on that night I forgot to switch on the alarm at the night time, and somebody tried to break in. So today I install a camera on my garden, but the guy still was saying it's a good camera, everything is fine, it can capture the picture, it can alert, everything. But the problem is if you forgot to alarm it, it cannot protect you. So human mistake is also there as well. So even though your house is protected, your property is protected, but still there can be human mistake, there can be vulnerability, there can be weakness everywhere. So all the time the security measures need to be taken. However, as a network security engineer or cyber security engineer, if you achieve 3 or 4 things, then it means that your network is, at least you can claim that this is secured. So what are these? This is called a CIA. I know you guys are mostly from USA, so CIA is quite a commonly, I'm not sure it's a commonly used term, but in the movies it's quite commonly used. Many movies are around the CIA. But here CIA mean confidentiality, integrity, and availability. If you achieve these 3 things in your network, this is the goal. This is how, if you achieve these things in your network, it means your network is fully secured. Not fully secured, but at least it's secured. Okay, you can claim that it is, it is much better. So what is mean by confidentiality, integrity, and availability? Apart from that, there is another thing which I have actually included. It's not part of the CIA, if somebody asks you what is the goal of the network security, you can say CIA, which means confidentiality, integrity, and availability. We will see one by one, just a little bit small definition what is mean by each of them. But I also put this like a kind of non-repudiation as well. Okay, this is the kind of four things. And let's just look what is each definition of previously mean. So first of all, integrity. I mean, if we define integrity without in a networking term, what do you mean by integrity? Just a general term. Anybody has an idea?
Basically, to protect your honor.
Okay, that is one of the word. Like why, if I say, for example, that somebody say, Maz, you are a thief, right? Or you are a liar, or you are breaking promises. So it means somebody is putting some doubt on my personality, right? So it's somebody is, tempering my personality, for example. So if you actually prevent and again authorize data modification, right? So let's say if I transfer $100 from my account to Shahid account, but if somebody sitting in the middle and he changed from 100 to one extra 10, and maybe somebody is withdrawing or somebody transferred rather than 100, it's maybe 1000. So within 1 digit difference, it is a huge difference, $900 different, right? But it's mean if we can make sure while the data is in the transit path, it should not be modified. It should not be altered. It's mean we achieve the integrity. You guys are from the networking background. There are two protocols normally we use. Anybody has an idea? What are those? No? No idea?
Telnet SSH?
No. One second. No. So look, I have one. I just take an example. Okay. These are two routers. Router 1 and router 2. You guys are mostly from routing background anyway, right? So let's say I just put a link here and I just run an OSPF between them. Okay. So this is, I run an OSPF and I say OSPF. Everybody is actually okay with OSPF. But there is somebody sitting here and we are making sure that nobody can actually, can see. If somebody put a Wireshark here, he can capture everything. But how we can make sure these OSPF neighbors are protected? We use some kind of mechanism. Anybody has an understanding? How we can protect the routing updates, exchange between the two routers?
There is OSPF authentication.
Yeah. MD5, remember MD5?
Yeah.
These are the two protocol, guys. These are the two protocol can give you the integrity. It can protect somebody cannot modify these information while in the transit part. Anybody knows how the MD5 works? MD5 at Shaw. These are the two protocol. Make sure that the data in the transit part should not be altered. Okay, it can give you a guarantee. How can it does? How can it do it? Shiraz bhai, can you do you have the idea?
It matches the key on the both side.
Yes, thank you. So it's actually a hashing. So when you send a string from one side to another side, when you send a string from router A to router B or router 1 to router A, so whatever the information you are sending, you attach kind of a string. This string called hash. Okay, and if once the R2 receive that value, I mean actual message plus hash value, it actually recalculate the hash, and if it find the matching the same kind of hash, it's mean nobody in the transit path has actually modified that data. That is why you can make sure with using these two protocol, you can make sure nobody has actually changed the information. So this kind of protocol can give you that nobody has actually cannot make any changes, because whatever the information you are sending, the receiver can actually verify by calculating the hash. And this calculation of the hash done by these two protocols. So whatever you're saying, hello, how are you? But apart from hello, how are you, the other side R2 is also receiving a hash which is attached by the R1, and R2 receive the hash, recalculate the hash, because they are both are either they are speaking MD5 or SHA. So in this way, they both verify the hash, and they are saying, okay, because whatever the message you are sending, it is same kind of hash string is in the middle. We receive it, so it's mean nobody has changed any information. So this makes sure the integrity is protected. It's the information is exchanged between the two parties, between the two devices. It is not modified. So prevention against unauthorized data modification. Okay, non-repudiation. Any questions, sorry, for integrity before I go to the next topic? Clear? Okay. Non-repudiation, prevention against anyone party from denying on an agreement after the fact. What do you mean? Maybe this slide can explain you something. Yes, sir. Who would like to dare to explain this slide to me, please? I need some interaction, please. So I get bored when nobody's speaking. I want everybody to participate. Doesn't matter it is rubbish or a good thing. Doesn't matter. I want everybody to participate. The challenge with the online people, that because we can't see each other, even though we can, but the problem is we can't see what somebody's doing. I want everybody to interact as well in the class. So please do participate. Doesn't matter if the answer is right or wrong, try something. So what do you think? Any idea when you see this slide? What do you mean by non-repudiation?
So basically, that explains that in the beginning, when the transaction was created, the amount was this, but what received was not the exact amount. So it could be because of some specific charges, regarding the service added, subtracted. So and the user was not informed. So the tag was to receive the exact amount, but at the end, in the middle, because of service charges, it was reduced. It could be one example.
Good. Anybody else would like to clarify more or add something else? No? Okay, let's try to understand with some simple example. So let's say somebody come into your house and he tried to steal something. He tried to break into the house, and your camera, who's installing or at that time, maybe he taken the picture. And at the end of the day, when you went to the police and they ask you, do you have any kind of proof that this guy, Mr. XYZ, came into your house? You said, yes, I have a proof because I have a camera picture. That time, that particular type, that particular day, this guy came into my house and he broke my house and he stolen these things, and I have a picture. So that is a kind of proof where you can prove, nobody can now deny it. That maybe thief will say, no, I was not there. Maybe I was sitting with my sister, I was doing shopping and I was enjoying on the beach. But this is not the case, because now the picture has proven that this guy exactly done what he has done. Right? So he cannot deny that. So I think what in the networking field, we guys are all about logging. Right? So logging, anything you do with a network device is create a log. That logging, when it generate, if you shut down an interface on a router or a switch and router goes down and you have a TACX is already using, TACX is actually getting all the information behind the scene, and the next day the manager asks you have shut down the interface. You said no, but they have a proof that a particular time, particular day, particular time you logged in, you log into the device and you did this thing, so you cannot deny. So actually we need to have some kind of system in place in the network where if somebody can make try to penetrate into the network, try to steal something, you have some kind of proof against him. That is also goal as well. So that is why you can see the SOC environment. Everybody's okay with the NOC environment. What is the NOC environment? we know knock environment, right? Where the team is sitting in the background, first line, second line, they are actually, continuously monitoring the network. If the network device goes down, they alert the client, or they open a ticket, something like that, But in parallel to that, there is a SOC environment as well, similar like knock. But what they do, whatever the loggings are coming into your network, somebody try to penetrate into your network, these guys are sitting in the background, they analyze it, what happened. If they see any kind of malfunctioning activity, they immediately open a ticket with a firewall team, with an IPS team, with a customer, and they say, guys, we've seen some unusual activity behind the scene. What do you think? Is it you? Is it somebody else? What countermeasure we do? So this is why logging, if I say non-repudiation, it's when logging enable must be on the devices. So nobody can deny that what he has done, actually. So you have the proof. So in this previous slide, it's also same thing. Somebody tries to transfer 500, but it may be 1500. But if the bank says, maybe you verify the PIN, you verify the PIN, we text you the message as well, you confirm that it was you, he cannot deny that. Maybe he said, maybe a certain time, some people, that's why the banks, first time they call you, if you have a fraud, they will say it was you, or sometimes they verify through the PIN code or through the sending a message or things like that. So if you go to them, you say it wasn't me, but at the end of the day, if somebody used your card, you verify the PIN, they said, no, boss, look, you have done this, so we can't do anything else. Okay, so prevention against any one party from denying an agreement after the fact. So it's like, these guys cannot deny after doing something. Authentication of the data source, protection against unauthorized data disclosure. How we can protect the confidentiality? I mean, sometimes, the files, they're written on that, this is very confidential, which means only authorized person can see it, can read it, and they can, view it as well. So goal of the network security is also sometimes confidentiality. For example, if you are transferring an information, mostly we use internet banking every day. So if I go to my internet banking, Bank of America or HSBC, and if I transfer any money from every day from my online account to my friend's account, or maybe I'm buying an online thing, you can see here you can see, once you log in, you will see some kind of message. So let's say I just logged in here. You see this here, this connection is secured. Yeah? How this is secured, it's another story. But the idea is actually that, so how we can achieve the confidentiality? That the data in the transit part, even somebody receive the information sitting in the middle, sitting here, if somebody can view the data, somebody can view whatever is going on with the help of Wireshark, he cannot read it. He cannot read it. Maybe he can all the information, but it's like a garbage for him. So that is why we use some kind of protocol. Anybody knows what kind of protocol we use? So these protocols, some kind of confidentiality, achieve the confidentiality, provide the encryption actually between the two transit party. That is called confidential. This is where you can achieve the confidentiality. So integrity, confidentiality, and availability, and non-repudiation, these are the goal of your network security. Okay, so you need to define your policy, you need to protect your system. Just to keep in mind these four things in your mind: integrity, confidentiality, availability. Actually, it's a CIA, confidential, integrity, and availability. But I am putting one more thing, which is non-repudiation, and also it's a privacy as well, right? Availability and authenticity as well. But most likely 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So actually, four things are. This is most likely. If somebody asks you, if you give them this answer, CIA, confidentiality, integrity, and availability, that answer is also correct. But I'm just putting a couple of more things for you. for example, non-repudiation and also maybe privacy, or you can see authenticity as well. This is also the goal of now a network security as well. Any questions so far about?
Yeah, Mazhar bhai, just wanted to understand, like the hackers, right? The hackers knows the encryption, right? They also know all these are the standard encryptions, right? They can also encrypt the data. They can hack and encrypt the data, or is it not the case?
No, hacker cannot. No, sorry. Can you repeat the question? Because one thing is you mentioned very.
Sorry.
Hmm.
Just I don't have a background
Okay,
in
that's fine.
security, so just asking, the hackers can like use the same encryption, right? And get the information. Just thinking actually, right? Hackers can find out the exact information using the same encryption method, right? Whichever the bank is using, they can use the same encryption method and decrypt the information to get the real information.
Yeah, okay. Listen, let's say you are the hacker. You are sitting here in the middle. These two devices are sending some encrypted kind of message. Even they know these DES, they are using DES or triple DES or E. So far, these three protocol, I think DES is going to be obsolete, because I think these are the key. So if somebody want to, any third party, first of all, there are some kind of key mechanism between R1 and R2 that is exchange between them. And even the hacker hacker has no idea about these key. All they can know I think they try to break something as a hacker. I think it was happened before. So DES is so far broken because the key length is, I think, anybody know the key length of the DES? I think it's 56 or Usman bhai, do you know the key length? So I think this can, I think 250.
Yes, I think this is 56.
56, and then
Yes.
triple DES mean 3 times 256, and AES is, I think,
128 to
yeah.
128, yeah.
Yeah. So if somebody, so whatever the hacker is sitting here, he doesn't have the key actually, because once they exchange the information, okay, there is a protection, we are happy to exchange the data. My criteria is DES or triple DES or EES. They exchange this information. The keys are here. If a hacker is here, he intercept the message. He will first of all see all the garbage. Even if he know that they are using DES or triple DES, he does not have the key information. I think what they can do, they can try different methodology just to break the key in. The longer the length of the key is harder to break in actually, and sometimes it is very, very difficult to de-encrypt for the people here. Even they know what protocol you're using. So Shahid bhai, even they know what protocol you're using, it doesn't make any, they cannot break into. Okay, they cannot reach the information. They know that first of all they need to the key, and even they have the key or all the information, they still need to de-encrypt it, because this person can have the ability to encrypt it, and this person has the key. Is like the lock. Okay, if in your house, if me and you are sharing the same house, and you also have the key and I also have the key, but if Shazar bhai comes in and he also try his key as well, it will take some time to generate the same kind of key which you and me are using, because he need to know the understanding of all the the setup, how these keys are defined. So maybe I think so far they tried it, and this DES they have broken. Okay, that is why it is absolute. Mostly companies are, even they were using, they are now informing their customer we are no more supporting DES. Okay, so that is why the key length is longer and longer. The longer the key length, it put extra load on the CPU or memory utilization, but on the other side it gives you more security. Okay.
Okay, got
Anything
it.
else, sir? Anything else?
That's all. Thank you.
Okay. So now we are going to, so far guys, we have done what, so far we have completed, understand a difference between cyber security or network security. We discuss about the network challenges nowadays we have. Then we also discuss about the goal of the network security. And the goal of the network security are 3. confidentiality, integrity, and availability, and the fourth one in non-repudiation. Okay, so now I am going to blank the screen and I'm asking one by one. Okay, there is a blank screen, only I can see it. So who can explain me what is the goal of the security? At least 3 to 4 things we have, right? So what do you think? What is the goal of the security? So screen is blank. I have not written anything. I want to understand how much you actually, grasp the things which I'm explaining to you.
CIA, confidentiality, integrity, and availability.
Perfect. Thank you. And the fourth one?
Non-repudiation.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you. Shahid bhai, so you said non-repudiation and I will allow you to explain it.
It is something like personal information can be changed between the two endpoints, right? From bank, I am doing a transaction, and let's say I am withdrawing maybe $500. Someone put some extra zero, or remove something, right? Changing and modifying my information, and that is, I think, the non-repudiation.
Who can verify that either answer is right or wrong? Who can verify that?
I think it's the integrity. Its definition.
It's a kind of integrity, yes.
Yes.
Anybody would like to dare to explain non-repudiation? It is something, for example, if I done something wrong and you caught me, for example, I cannot deny that I haven't done that. So sometimes somebody has a proof that you have done these things. That is called non-repudiation. So a person cannot deny that I have not done that thing. That is called non-repudiation. So because you have some kind of proof against him. Simply, I gave you 2 examples. If you log into the network device with your TechX username and password today, and you say write erase and go home. So tomorrow when you come into the network into the office and your manager say, guys, look, you did this, and you say, no, I haven't done that. But they ask the TechX team, give me the logs that this guy with this username and password logged in from this machine, this machine, this machine. Now you are making sure that whatever you are doing, it is logged behind the scene and you cannot deny whatever the facts are. Yeah? Make sense?
Yeah. I've seen an environment where you can't. I have seen an environment where you cannot use basically the laptops and the office PCs for your personal use. Like, for example, if you want to make any transaction, if you just basically put your card number in and you try to make basically a transaction.
Sorry, I think you're breaking up. Is it Mansoor? So voice is broken. Okay. So anybody else who can explain me the confidentiality? Shazal bhai?
It is basically the encryption, right?
Encryption, yes. Confidentially, you encrypt using confidentially mean if the data is transferring between the 2 devices, somebody can even see that, they would not understand what is that. So for example, if you are using internet banking at your home, somebody in your house try to run a Wireshark, try to capture the things, the information between you and the bank is fully secured. Nobody can see how much money you are transferring and how much money you have in the account, because that is confidential. So we have used some kind of protocol or system between your computer and the banking environment. So because bad guys are sitting on the internet as well, if they tap the network and they can see what is going on, they will not be able to understand. That is called encryption. By the other way we achieve this through encryption. But the confidentiality means the data cannot be read by the person who is trying to read it. Okay? Okay, now apart from confidentiality, integrity. Yes, sir. Who would like to explain the integrity? Usman bhai from California. Is he here?
Actually, he is with me on WebEx and on my phone. I think he has some security restrictions on his laptop and he cannot install the plugin. But I think that should be done. He's with me.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. So and then we have one.
Yeah, integrity is something the data in its original form, right? So
data cannot be altered. Data cannot be changed.
Right.
In the transit path, data cannot. We giving the guarantee that data cannot be modified, and we achieve this by using the hash value. Okay.
Good. So it is something related with the encryption as well.
No. No. In some situation, you are happy with the maybe integrity. That's all. You don't need a confidentiality. For example, if somebody can, for example, if you cannot change the information between me and my bank, actually, if I'm transferring $100 to maybe Shazir Bhai, and if you can see that I'm transferring $100, but as long as you cannot modify it, I'm fine.
Okay. It is just monitoring. Confidentiality is the monitoring, and integrity is the the protection of data. Okay.
Okay, now we are going to understand many network threats. Not many, but few of them, the old threat, few of them still going on, and some few of them the next generation threats or advanced threats as well. So this guy is saying, I think it's a Chinese guy, say, know your enemy and know yourself, and you can fight 100 battles without a disaster. So first of all, if you want to protect your house and you know what are the weak area, what are the strong area, what time the intruder comes in, maybe, if you are going on holidays, if you are not at home, somebody is trying to break into your house, first of all, he would like to know from your house what time you comes in, what time you go, do you have any alarms, you have a security alarm, which company you have, can this be breakable or not, something like that. So if you know the enemy, where the enemy can comes into your house or in your network, you can protect your network. That is the only way. So when the two countries fight each other a war, when they go into the war kind of thing, it is better to know what is the country weakness or a strength as well. What are their weakness and what are their strength. For example, maybe nowadays mostly people are saying the economy, for example, is also linked to your network, country security, because a strong country can be only which has a strong economy as well. So, but the main thing is how you can protect your network if you know the attacks, where the person can comes in, and then based on these attacks you can plan how to protect your network. Okay, so next 10, 15, 20 slide, we are just discussing many network attacks. Some of them maybe you already heard in the news, some of it you already know, but I'm assuming that you don't know much of them. Okay. Okay, so what are those network attacks? DDoS. Anybody heard about DDoS? DOS or DDoS?
Yeah, denial of service.
Yeah, basically. Denial of services attack. Some of is also kind of denial of services. Spoofing attack is there. We'll discuss one by one. Botnet is one of the attack as well. Zero-day attacks nowadays very common. Every day is scary news in the new. Recently we have attacks on our NHS system in UK. Ransomware attacks, APT, advanced persistent threats. So these are some of the very common attacks nowadays. Some of them may be old and they're still there, and some of them maybe it's very difficult to stop. But as a network security engineer, if you're going into that direction, you must know what are these attacks, because every day somebody, maybe when you go to the interview, they will ask you these things, number one. And most importantly, as a guy who will be working in the industry, you should know at least aware of what are the attacks are existing. And every day new attacks are discovered, new attacks are going to be launched. You must need to be aware of those. So first of all, denial of services attack, DOS attack. So definition is an attempt to make a machine or a network resource unavailable to its intended user. Okay, what do you think? If there is a Amazon is a web services, right? We buy every other day. eBay is one of them. Facebook is one of them. Twitter is one of them. So these are all legitimate services. People need to use it every second, every minute. These are the businesses. No company can survive a businesses without having a good website. especially e-commerce. And these are the legitimate services has to be available all the time to the user. What if somebody can make your server so busy that he cannot perform his actual job and he may be busy doing something else? An example, an employee who is employed to, to run the office. He's an office boy, for example, but he is so busy in watching the Facebook, spending time on the Facebook or buying something else on the internet, he may be not performing his actual job. So the idea is that, this kind of attacks most likely represent the frustration when the attacker or gainer cannot, enter into your network or enter into your house, but he just, at the end of the day, he just throws something and try to break you and frustrate you. For example, if somebody intruder come into your house, he could not find any valuable thing. He maybe find a very old TV. He will just throw it outside the window and say, "What's a useless house is that?" So it's like, just some kind of frustration. But there are some kind of, these attacks are very, very sophisticated nowadays, and it's very, very hard to stop them. Okay, especially company are on the internet. Those are using Amazon, all these company, they have a special system. There are different company, I will tell you in a minute, because denial of services is one of the largest attacks nowadays on the internet, especially for the web services. The company, those are available on the internet all the time. So for example, we know the ping utility. If I ping to .com, I'm getting a respond. Okay, but this is 4. But if I do -t, so now what will happen? What will be impact, guys, if I put -t?
More load on the server.
Yeah.
Right?
So exactly, if it is actually, as you can see, I'm putting kind of -t means that it's continuously ping. So tell me the Amazon services. So ping request is a legitimate request. TCP/IP, sync acknowledgement, and sync acknowledgement, these are also legitimate requests. But if I want to launch an attack and I send thousands and millions of pings at the same time to the service, but the ping is designed what? For it's like a troubleshooting tool to understand that this host is live or not. The actual job of this Amazon server is where the people do online shopping. But if the server get busy in doing this kind of thing, this is not his actual job to responding to ping. But actually this is also legitimate traffic. So if somebody can send millions of sync packet, millions of ping requests with a large number of packet to the server and making sure the server is so busy in replying to the ping request rather than doing his actual job, this is where you are actually, launching a DDoS kind of attack. Okay. So what is then? So commonly used against the information stores like websites, simple and used quite effectively. The reason is because services are available online anyway. You don't need to do you don't need to have a special technique to understand the inside network. If you have IP address of the server, a web server, you can launch an attack. Do not pose a direct threat to the sensitive data. Yes, this is not the idea. The idea is we're just trying to put your services down, right? For example, if you talk about this link, that server or a target server, the actual bandwidth of this link is 10 meg. Okay? But if I send a traffic of 100 meg, will it work? And the whole network is choked down. Okay? The attacker tries to prevent a services from being used and making the services unavailable to the legitimate user. So now the legitimate user can no longer use these services. Okay? So now the actual user, they might be denied to access the server because now the service is under the attack and they launch an attack. Maybe the link is so busy, the server is so busy doing some other thing, and he cannot perform his actual job. The actual job is a web server, DNS server, mail server, a SQL server, yeah, many other services as well. But if he cannot perform his actual job, maybe he's busy doing something else, it's mean the other user like me or you who will not be able to access that that services. Okay, the attacker tries to prevent services from being used and making services unavailable to the legitimate user. Attacker typically go for the high visibility target such as the web server or from the infrastructure target like routers and the link. Okay, so some of the attacks, some of the example you can see denial of services attacks are here. For example, this is an example. If a mail server is capable of receiving and delivering 10 messages per second, an attacker simply send 20 messages per second, the legitimate traffic as well as the lot of the malicious traffic will go drop, or the mail server might stop responding entirely. Because now he is receiving, his capacity is 10, but somebody is sending the messages more than his capacity. It's mean now he will not, any other mail comes to anybody else, that may be dropped as well. This type of an attack may be used in a diversion, while another attack may be made to actually compromise host. So in usually case what happen, somebody try to launch something from other side, but maybe their actually intentions are something else. Maybe you get busy to protect that, but maybe they attack somewhere else. In addition, administrations are likely to make mistake during an attack and possibly change a setting that create a vulnerability, and that can be further exploited. Okay. Some of the denial of service attacks are here. Buffer attacks, sync attack, tear down attacks, SMOF attacks, this attack we're discussing, DNS attack, email attacks, physical infrastructure, virus and worms. So these are some of the examples. These are some of the attacks, as you can see, and this is what I told you, like ping attack with a large number of continuously ping attack with a large number of sizes attacker is launching on this server, and the legitimate user will not be able to access that. That is why the legitimate user will be denied to the actual accessing the server. So that's why it's called denial of services attack. What I want from you guys, this buffer, I will send you these slides in a PDF format. You need to understand each and everything: buffer overflow, flood, sync flood, tear down attacks, SMOF attacks. I will discuss only one of them, but all these attacks you can easily go into the internet and you can research yourself. This is one of your tasks. Okay, one of the attack I will discuss, but the other attacks you need to understand yourself. Viruses and worms are, I think, don't need to be understand much in a difficult, because somebody can send many viruses and worms into your network. Okay. Any questions so far? Shall we?
Marun bhai, but the physical infrastructure attack, can you explain that? Actually, just interested to know the physical infrastructure attack, the physical one. Yeah.
So I was one of the employee. I was client for working, and what happened? Somebody has stolen the switch from the data center itself, right? And when the switch was stolen, the whole exchange was down. So if you cannot protect maybe you have protected your network by installing firewalling, by installing IPS, by many network devices, you have a top down. But if you cannot actually physically lock down your system, and it's not very well protected, that is where, you can't protect your system. If somebody comes in and connect your console cable or take that device outside of the system, this is like physical infrastructure kind of things. But most importantly, I want to show you something different. DOS attack mitigation. This is not there, but I to show you what is that, right? Okay, the DOS attacks, as I said, it is very hard to stop. These are the different strategy you use. How many guys you know about BGP? I'm sure most of you, right? Okay. So I can give you a company name, this company, Akamai. How many guys you know about Akamai? Yeah? Nobody? You guys need to read that, right? Okay. So they have a system just only to protect your company like Facebook, company like Amazon, or company like eBay, to protect them from the denial of services attacks, because they are so severe, and it is very hard by even you can't even stop them by using even the firewall, by IPS. Okay, because people are targeting on your legitimate services. Okay, so you can see they are leader, Akamai and I think Improva. They are the leader in the Gartner Magic Quadrant for the web application firewall, I think. But in the Akamai cloud is also for F5. There are the challenges, Fortinet, Raker, Redware. Yeah, so Redware is a solution which install online, in the office. And this DDoS attacks to it is one of the worst attacks. So mostly company, they have, I think the Akamai is there, and there are other few companies, those are providing you to stop the DDoS attack, because they are very, very hard to protect. You can't protect them. You can protect your system by user by not going into the website or a cloud, but stopping the user, stopping someone to launch a DDoS attack, it is very, very difficult. Okay, next time when we have a class, guys, you need to more understand this, how we can stop the DDoS attack. Okay, there are many videos on the YouTube. Okay, they will explain you. Actually, it is out of the context as I explain you right now, because you need to understand the BGP concept very well. The only way you do it to stop this DDoS attack by using the BGP. Okay. Do you want me to explain it?
Sure, please.
Okay, I can. No problem. So what happened? Let's say you have a Facebook here. So that Facebook server is always available. We access every other second, right? So that is my Facebook server. So let's say what is the IP address of the Facebook? Okay, so you will be getting an IP address. Okay, so that is my IP address, right? Okay, now the server is on the internet. Okay, so we know that this server is available on the internet and people are accessing outside the world. Facebook has their own autonomous system number. Everybody is okay with the BGP autonomous system? They advertise these prefixes to the outside world. This prefixes, and people, those are actually received. If you need to accept that, whatever the ISP you are using at home, they have the reachability. Let's say, for example, I am using Virgin ISP. They should have the reachability to this server. Otherwise, I will not be able to reach the Facebook server. So what they do, by how they can protect from the DOS attack. Okay, it's a little bit tricky. What they do, they actually advertise this prefix to outside world. Outside world receive the prefix. They go to the outside world, but the return traffic come from the company called Akamai, kind of things. So I'm a very bad in spelling, AKAMI, yeah. Okay. So what they do, the outbound traffic receive this path, but the return traffic has to go through Akamai, and if they have a scrubbing center. What are they called? Scrubbing center. And with the scrubbing center, they analyze the traffic pattern and behavior. If everything is good, fine. If not, what they do, they actually, scrubbing center, with the help of scrubbing center, they send this traffic to black hole. They black hole the traffic, and not only black hole the traffic, they clean this traffic and send back to the user. So they work 24/7. They monitoring your traffic. So with the help of BGP, you can achieve this. Your outbound traffic is this way, maybe your return path is this way. That is how you want to make sure the inbound traffic to your network always goes to the scrubbing center. They clean it up. They look into the traffic behavior, analyze it. They have the team sitting 24/7. If they find anything for many, because they have many customers, not just you, all the traffic going to them, they have tons of bandwidth, or where they, or the links they already created. They have a scrubbing center all over the world, not just in one data center, all over the world. They receive the traffic and they clean the traffic and send back to you. So making sure all the DOS attack does not go directly to you. That is how they can avoid nowadays DOS attack. Mostly company, all company like Amazon, eBay, Facebook, those have a good excellent presence. All their businesses protected. Their businesses are online all the time, 24/7. They cannot afford to have a DDoS attack. It's a company reputation and it's a business as well. Right? Clear? Any question?
Madhur bhai, actually, just I'm thinking, this type of companies like Akamai, they might not be like good for the banks, financial institutions, because they do not want to share their traffic actually, right?
Good. That is why company use Redware. See this one, this company. So that is not, this solution is not in premise. This is out of their premises. The in-premise unit, they have installed their own hardware, Redware. However, they also use Akamai kind of solution as well. So they mix both of them. Clear?
Okay, got it. Yeah, okay.
So guys, this is your task. I'm typing in the chat window as well. You need to understand everything. You need to read. There is a lot of material available on the internet, and you can read through about them. One of them I'm going to explain, which is quite important, Smurf attack. Okay. So in a Smurf attack, which is kind of denial of services type of attack, what happens? This Smurf attack is a denial of service attack in which a large number of ICMP packets with the intended victim spoof source addresses are broadcasted to the computer network using a broadcast IP. We know the broadcast, when we run a kind of, okay, what is the broadcast IP? If I type
255 at the end, last of it.
Everybody's okay? So my broadcast will be okay. So who would like to explain the broadcast for me?
One to all.
So which means if you send a message to this guy, it will be go to all the live hosts in my network. Clear? Okay.
Right.
So all the devices on my network, those are in this range, they have to reply back to me that they are live. Okay. So it was purpose was that the broadcast message is good sometime when you are not finding anything, you just broadcast it. Now, what the attacker is doing some smart kind of thing. Here we go. So what they do, You know, when we do the telnet, there is an option to change the source network as well. Everybody is aware of that. We call this actually extended ping. In the extended ping, you have the option to change the source IP or the source network. So what you do, you send a ping response, you send a directed broadcast. Directed broadcast mean where all the guys this kind of, yeah, it's a directed. So they send the destination, and the source IP they send to the victim, not their own. So what happened? All the 254 live hosts, they will be replying back to this guy and not this, because he is a clever guy. He send the messages, directed broadcast, he changes. So what he does, directed broadcast, host receive it, host 2 receive it, and they are replying back messages in the source is the victim address. Maybe that victim is now busy too much to reply back, where he has not actually, initiated that request. Okay, in this way, that host, maybe he's a web server, maybe he's an email server inside the company, but somebody launched an attack inside the company, and he sent a message destination to directed broadcast to all of them by using the directed broadcast, because he know the IP address is used in the network. He actually launched this an attack, but the source IP he has given to somebody else. Clear? So for example, take an example. If I write a Eid card, I know it used to be like we send many Eid messages to each other. So if thousands of destination I send to my friend and give the returning address, I'm giving the Shahid Bhai. So now all the people will be replying back to Shahid Bhai and not to me. But actually Shahid Bhai is never intended to, he never tried to send this request to anyone. Okay, is that clear?
Yes, it is clear.
Okay. So spoofing.
So is it for slowing down only one computer then?
Okay.
Only
the idea is, yes. What happened? Let's say the attacker. Let's say you are the attacker. First of all, you find out what IP addresses they are used. Okay. You know the subnet. You know the network. Based on the subnet and network, you find the broadcast address. Number one. Then you find in the network what is a system. Maybe what is the email? What is the IP address of the email server? Because you want to make sure that the people inside the company for some period of time or today, they will not exchange email services today. So in this way, because that is, you need some kind of reconnaissance inside the network. You need to understand what is the network inside and what are the legitimate, what is the services, what is the attacker. So in this situation, you change the IP address of the attacker, yourself, and all the services are now responding back to a different server, and maybe that server is get too busy doing the things. Okay?
Okay.
Madhur bhai?
Yes, sir.
One thing, though it is not related, but I'm only thinking like if we disable the ping or if we stop the multiple requests from the same server, just thinking, right?
Yeah. So you can see this is what they mention here. Easy to handle in a 2-day network. Just disable this command. No IP directly broadcast on the interface.
Or Madhur bhai, just one thing, I think the client I am supporting, they are using a proxy. It is a security proxy, right? Something like that. Just I heard the name, I don't know anything actually. So proxy means all the requests are going to proxy, and from there they are controlling, right? What information to filter or something.
Proxy,
like that.
Proxy is different thing. Proxy is different thing. We'll explain that later when we discuss today. But proxy is doing mostly web filtering for you on the internet. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Spoofing attack. Anybody know the term spoof? What is spoof?
It is sending some, like garbage information to fill the other party, something like that.
Oh, it's like you are pretending to someone else.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, you are pretending because let's say I know you and Usman Bhai in California, you are a friend. Okay? For example. So let's say I know that you are a friend. Okay? So I become also friend as well today, for example, from today. And tomorrow I go to him and I say, Usman Bhai, Shahid Bhai said to me, or maybe I call him with your voice and say, Usman Bhai, can you give me $1,000 today? So you are pretending, I will be pretending in front of you, instead of you, which you maybe don't know. I can share you one example which happened to me. I used to have a kind of business terms or something like that where I exchange the money with someone. And what happened, and it happened to me, honestly. I mean, I work in network security many years now, but it happened to me, okay? So what happened, and I exchanged sometime on his behalf. He asked me to pay some kind of money via the PayPal to some party on his behalf. For example, he was looking to rent a rack, for example, for some class. So I paid a couple of times for his money. What happened, his email was hacked, and I did not know. So somebody, the hacker the guy who was very smart, he read all the email communication between me and he started communicating with me. He said, Mazhar Bhai, I need to send this guy in Turkey I think $1,800 today. I said, are you sure today? And the way he was communicated, it's the same way. And I did not judge because I have a trust relationship already with that guy. I did not even call him and confirm that is it you, right? I just sent the money via Western Union. I exchanged 2-3 emails with him and I sent the money. And it's gone, Western Union is gone. And later on when I call him 2 or 3 days after that, because he knows that when I receive that money, he give me some way else, maybe in Pakistan or somewhere else, by some other way. He said, Mazhar Bhai, give me the money today, tomorrow, or within next few hours. I will passing on this money to this guy, you will get it. And I lost $1,800. So what the actual idea is here in the spoofing attacks or the spoofing, what the company A and company B, they are already transacting something. They are exchanging the email. But in the attacker, they divert all the outgoing email from A to B through the spoofer without the other to realize it. That is the kind of spoofing, right? Sometimes you mail, your bank is also emailing you. Maybe sometimes they say, we never ask you an email, a password or username or, ourselves. So if you receive this kind of email, please email us, call us back. You got it now? What is spoofing attack? It's a situation in which one person or a program successfully masquerades as another one by falsifying data or thereby gaining an illegitimate advantages. Okay?
I don't know, like if you guys remember, we have studied DHCP spoofing as well in switching. I think it's the same sort of attack.
Yeah.
Where a rogue DHCP server comes into play.
Yeah.
So
question?
one question.
Shiraz bhai? Yes, please. Yeah.
Right. So what is the attack called where we usually receive at least once a month or once every few weeks a text message saying that your account is blocked. Please access your account ASAP. And of course, when we look at it,
exactly.
It's not the actual web address. There is
exactly.
What is it called?
What is called?
Yeah, what kind of attack is that called?
It is called under the spoofing attack because somebody is falsifying the information and he's pretending that he is PayPal, for example, or he's PayPal your bank. But another way, we have this kind of phishing email as well, where somebody, that terms is different in other sense, but it is like more in the spoofing attack. Somebody is pretending that actually he's not. When you click that link, it might be take to a different link, for example.
Yeah. The phishing attack is basically when they try to basically get your personal information. Basically, they will say like, can you provide your user, can you provide your date of birth? It happened to me literally a few days back.
Yeah.
Basically, I use a website WordRemit basically to send the money basically to the other countries. So basically, I've made a transaction I think last week, and I received 3 emails from a different person. They have a same template of that website, the WordRemit. And they said like your transaction will be blocked. You need to present your passport copy, or you need to. I mean, they asked me for a few informations on the email, but it was basically the phishing attack. Basically, it was not exactly the same template. There was a little bit of difference between the actual website and them. And then I rang them, and they said we did not send you any email, right? Yeah.
Exactly. And if he's like a normal user and he has no idea, a home user, he just used a computer, he may not be aware of that. You know? Okay, guys. So next one, botnet. This is a new kind of term. So botnet is short for robot, criminal distributed malware turning on our computer into bot, which they can control remotely. Computer perform automated tasks over the internet without us knowing it. Criminals use bot to infect the large number of those computers from the network, which is populated called as a botnet. So what nowadays people are doing, in the next slide is more terms. So what is bot and botnet? Attacker, you can see he has a command and control system from where he control the different computer. Maybe they successfully installed some kind of software on your machine, a malware in an instance that run autonomously and automatically on a compromised computer called Zombie without owner consent. So owner is not aware. Maybe I visited one site and I tried to download maybe a program or something like that, and without knowing me, maybe some kind of malware is also installed on my machine, and that malware allow my PC to be controlled outside world. Okay, so botnet, a network of bots controlled by the criminal, a coordinated group of malware instances that are controlled by the bot master via the command and control channel. So the idea is that a kind of robot, you see, the criminal, they distribute a malware through the computer without the actual owner knowledge, and from their own word, what they do, they might infect the other machine and they control them remotely, and in this way maybe they are gathering some information, maybe you're visiting your online banking or try to steal your information through this way, by installing the botnet on your computer. So it's like a robot. They will be following the instruction. They're not following your instruction, but they are following the instruction, the person who is actually controlling it. Okay? So you see, computer perform automated tasks over the internet without knowing us. Criminals use bots to infect large number of computers. These computers from the network, which is populated, called a botnet. Okay? My favorite topic, guys. Right.
So this botnet, basically how if you provide your computer to someone and they can install this thing in your computer and you don't know.
No. It can be this way. It can be this way. Maybe that person is not trustworthy, or maybe you gave someone to fix my computer, he installed something, or maybe you visit every other day hundreds of websites, right? And unintentionally or intentionally you downloaded something. Maybe that program also infected by some malware, which we don't know, and that is why antivirus has to be installed on your machine, because they can actually protect you from malware. Malware is a program which actually install on your computer without your knowledge. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay, guys. So what I'm going to do, I'm taking a break. But before I take a break for 5 minutes, we take a break of 10 minutes, guys. I'm going to give you this video. I'm sending in the chat, and you need to watch it. Okay? So it's a 4 to 5 minutes video from the FireEye. Okay? This is about zero-day attacks. So, yes, Mansoor bhai, what do you think? What is a zero-day attack?
Is a type of a recognize attack. I mean, like, it basically the people basically they continuously try to vulnerabilities in your system, and basically through the port scanning or basically through the software, and it's basically then obviously according to the video it was basically showing like they try to negotiate with you. Or they can basically they can expose it to the basically the black world, and basically to earn the money. So it's sort of thing. I mean, yeah.
Anybody else would like to add something, or?
I mean, before the patch actually introduced for their security, so they try to basically.
Good. Shiraz bhai, what do you think? Shiraz bhai? Shiraz bhai, any idea? Are you there? Shahid, are you there?
Yes, I am here.
Shahid, have you watched the video, sir?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear. Yes, I can hear.
Good. Okay. So I think it is a very good concept for the video you shared. A zero-day attack. It is basically a software vulnerability, and where the hackers they spend maybe few weeks, months, or days to understand the network and to find any loophole from the network.
Very good.
And then they sell this information to the vendors or agents or the black market, right? And then the black market use that for their own purposes, right? Maybe blackmail or attack the company, right? Or to introduce the intrusion in the company's network, right? And then there are companies, vendors like FireEye, right? What they do, they can detect the intrusion, right? Block the attacker, and they can also alert the system admin about the attack, right?
Perfect.
And how they do, they isolate the traffic using like real-time data, real-time incident, analyze the attack, and do the reverse engineering, right? To understand what is like, the concept, what is the attack type, and then they develop the patch, and then they sell the patch, or then they the cloud on the cloud application, they fix that vulnerability. And in that way they provide the secure solution for any zero-day attack. Right?
Thank you, sir. You made my day. Thank you. So the idea is, guys, the hackers are trying to exploit the vulnerability which is not exposed yet. Every other day, if you're using Windows, I'm a Windows user. I don't know, maybe most of you are Mac, right? So every other day, you are using Mac or Android or whatever the operating system you are using. Every other day, 2 days, 3 days, you get some kind of patches, update the window. Why is it so? Because every other day, the operating system you have installed, they have weaknesses. They have every hardware, every software designed by every other company, they have weaknesses. They have vulnerability exposed to the outside world. And that is why they release the patches. Okay? The purpose of the patches is if they find out some security vulnerability inside the operating system, then you want to make sure that they are stopped. Okay? So that is why it is important that you always keep updating your window. I can give you one example. Shahid bhai explained very well, but just to add on one example, just a very common example, day-to-day example, let's say. So for example, in your house, there is a wall, outside wall is maybe very weakened, or the door, for example, the lock, sorry, let's take an example. So the wall outside is a very weakened wall. Maybe before you discover some intruder that discovered that the wall is weakened, right? So the actual owner, he has no idea that weakness is there. But before somebody know that. Okay? So now, because they know that, they can launch an attack, because that vulnerability is exposed to the outside world and there is no patch available unless by the time you know and you call someone to fix your wall, somebody launched the attack, right? So zero-day exploit an attack that exploit a previous unknown software security vulnerability, unknown, which is not known to vendors. Maybe Microsoft does not know, Cisco does not know, Adobe does not know, Juniper does not know, but that vulnerability is not exposed. But the zero-day attack is also sometimes called an attack that take advantage of this security vulnerability on the same day that the vulnerability become unavailable. So by the time actually vendor release the patch, somebody has already attacked it. You got it? So that is most likely happen through some worms or things like. Recently, the attack on our NHS in UK, the NHS, it because they were using some Windows XP. And Windows XP is not supported by Windows, the Microsoft anyway, right? So somebody knew that. That is the problem. They know that this operating system is there and they have some weakness because the patches are not there. They might find out that vulnerability and they launch an attack, a ransomware attack to them. Okay, and as a result, many of the systems were broken. So zero-day vulnerability timeline, vulnerability discovered by the attacker. So by the time you don't know, vulnerability packaged into the attack, a target is breached, a vendor works on a fix, and vendor release the fix. So until by the time vendor fix it, somebody has already exploited that. That is the kind of zero-day vulnerability attacks are there. This is why the ransomware attacks comes in as well. Somebody exploited that and now they gain access to the system, and the system cannot be the file. For example, they gain access to a particular file and that file or information is very important for you and they cannot break it. I mean, you can't actually it is encrypted file. You can't de-encrypt it. Only the hacker has the information to encrypt it. That is why they demand you the money. So what is you see ransomware, that is why where the ransomware attacks comes in as well. So there is a window machine pop in as well in front of you. They say maybe your computer cannot be open, the files are encrypted, this kind of thing, and they're leading you what happened to your computer, how you can recover it, and how you pay it. So they might give you for example what you call like Bitcoin kind of currency, which you can't track it. Nobody can track it. It's not easy to track that. So that is why you see infected files opened by they maybe send an email, somebody open that file, and that what happened, the ransomware virus had encrypted and locked all the files on your computer. Virus spread across the network, message displayed, demand Bitcoin payment to restore the access. Right? So these attacks, zero-day attacks and ransomware attacks, they are more likely happen in conjunction. Somebody exploits the vulnerability previously not known to the world, okay, and that is why by exploiting that, somebody gain access to that. They install some kind of worm or viruses inside your computer, they gain access to the files, and now the files are encrypted. Nobody can open apart from the person who attacked it, and that is why they are asking you to pay the money. And that is a recent attack, WannaCry attack. If you see, worldwide attack on many of the computers were affected. Many of the network were affected because of the WannaCry. I would suggest, guys, please go online and search some more about WannaCry ransomware attack and get some more information. What was it? Question? I'm happy to answer any question. No? Okay. It's mean everything is good. Okay.
One thing here, actually.
Yes, sir.
So, zero-day attack and ransomware attack.
Yeah.
So the difference is in ransomware attack, what I understand, the hackers install some malware application to access certain resource, a file or any application, right?
Yeah.
Whereas in the day zero attack, it is not the case, right?
It is not that critic, but what happened, most likely they go side by side. Somebody can exploit that. First of all, your unknown vulnerability which is not exposed, which is not known to owner, and which is not known to vendor, right? So after they know that, they launch an attack. Maybe they send some kind of viruses or some kind of files inside your computer, and as a result, that virus is actually now encrypted your computer, all the files, and now they are demanding you the money. So most likely, ransomware attacks are mostly happen by exploiting the zero-day attacks, right? So they are exploiting the unknown vulnerability into your system. Okay, so ransomware or they don't happen, just ransomware only means this is not a single attack. It is always most likely a hacker's attack because there is a zero-day, there is a vulnerability existing and the patch is not available. Okay, so that is kind of things they can do.
So like in the past, like has it happened to like enterprises or
yes. Example is this WannaCry. So WannaCry is happened just because the NHS was using the old Windows XP computers still, and somebody exploited the system because they know that it has not been updated, and there is some vulnerability exposed to that. Every computer monitor, the software, they do have vulnerability. Let me tell you how you can see that. Vulnerability. Sorry. How you spell? Sorry.
It's VULNER.
Yeah. I just want VULNER. Yeah, VULNER. Vulnerability. VCCVE. Yeah, database. Yeah, see. Yeah. So this is like there is a company, for example, CVE Detail, Ultimate Security Vulnerability Data Source. Okay, I gave you this link, and I can put this as well here. Okay, so you see every for example, I'm going to product by product. You can see these are different products. I can see, for example, Microsoft, or for example, these are the different vulnerabilities are discovered time by time. Apple, for example, they have these vulnerability discovered in 2008. These are the different vulnerability, and if you read any of them, there is a statement of this, for example. And these vulnerability are openly, anybody can read it, even attacker can read it, and they have the solution as well. So that is why the Mac system need to be updated, for example, because that vulnerability is just discovered. For example, CVE is this one is, you see, there is some kind of CVE is a complete confidential impact, integrity impact, availability impact, assessment, complexity, authentication. So you can see gain access. So somebody can gain access to your computer or machine by using these vulnerability. So most likely when these vulnerability exposed or discovered by the vendor or by the company who's using it, they report to the vendor, then vendor release the patches. So zero-day attacks are happen when the when the vulnerability is not unknown to any, it is only known to the attacker. It is not known to the person who is using, and is not known to the vendor. So by the time vendor know it, or by the time vendor the person the owner knows it, and by the time vendor release a patch for it, they exploit that vulnerability, they exploit that weakness. And that is why I've given you the example of weak wall in your house, which unknown to you but known to intruder, and they exploited that without you knowing to you, before you fix it. So ransomware, most likely it's happen side by side. somebody exploiting the vulnerability, zero-day vulnerability, and then they gain access to it by using some file, or because somebody can just not enter into the data without your knowledge. So when you access that and you access the file, maybe there is a virus and worm and it actually impacted your system, and that system is not impacted. Why it is impacted? Because whatever the viruses they sent, there is no patch available who can stop it. You got it? Yeah? And that is why it lead to a ransomware attack. Okay?
Yeah. I think recently, was it, I think end of 2017 or I think earlier 2018, where a company found out that for at least a month or so, the hacker were in their system, and then a specific date and time, when they were about to, I think, go IPO.
Uh-huh.
Right. So, so they demanded ransom.
Yeah.
So, and how they got in, actually, they found out that whoever built the gateways, they did not change the default Cisco password.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Sure. So APT, that is something new nowadays. Okay. Advanced persistent threats. Okay. Normally, normal kind of firewalls or not a normal kind of antivirus, it does not protect from it. Okay. So sometimes the company, a different company, they sell a separate package for people to actually, protect you from the advanced threat, advanced persistent threats. So the idea is here, the guy who is very patient, the attacker is very patient. He try to gain access into your system slowly by slowly, and gradually, because he's like somebody who's launching a DOS attack onto your company. He just maybe, make sure that you are in the news, you have a bad news about that, or your system is down, or he is launching these kind of attacks just as a frustration. But this APT is something different. An advanced persistent threat is a network attack in which an unauthorized person gain access to the network and stay there undetected for a long period of time. That's what you just mentioned. Who mentioned this just recently, that somebody access to the network and nobody knows it?
Shiraz.
Shiraz bhai, that is exactly the advanced persistent threats. So now the person, he's been looking around to your network for many days. Unauthorizedly, he access to the network and is undetected in the network. So the intention of the attack is not to steal, is to steal the data rather than to cause the damage to the network. So he's looking after the information. He's looking after the information from your organization, and he is not doing the damage instantly. Okay, that damage maybe come after 6 months. Maybe he access to the network and he is continuously, slowly penetrating into your network, gradually maybe gaining access to the different hosts, computers, software, username and password. And once he has the access, then he can maybe the intention, because the intention is to steal the data information. Maybe he's looking after the bank information, shares information, or things like that. The APT attacks target the organization in a sector with the high volume of information, such as national defense, manufacturing, and financial industry, right? Because these informations are quite sensitive. The national defense, manufacturing, because each manufacturer, whatever their prices are, financial industry. So that is why these companies are very much scared. So somebody can actually access to the system without you knowing it. An APT attacker often use a spear phishing, a type of social engineering to gain access to the network through legitimate means. So initially, maybe he accessed through a legitimate mean. Maybe he actually tracked down some people who can allow him to access. Once access has been achieved, the attacker establish a backdoor. The next step is to gather valid user credential, especially administrator one, and move literally across the network, installing more backdoor. The backdoors allow the attacker to install bogus utility and create a ghost infrastructure for distributing malware that remain hidden in the plain side. So that malwares are not detected by any software installed on your computer. Okay, so the APT idea is simple, that the people do not want to damage straight away into your company, but rather than they want to steal the information from your company. So by using some social engineering techniques, for example, social engineering, one example, maybe somebody is a CEO. He just come into the Facebook or Twitter and he announced something, or maybe he announced something that he is going for this kind of conference at that particular location and that particular hotel at that particular room and that particular person he's staying with me. So hacker can try to understand that where he is, and by using some technique, he try to steal the information through him. Okay, and then he gain access to his PC or his laptop or his network and stay there for a while, and during that he creates some kind of backdoor in the network and then installs some utility or malware which is hidden and nobody knows it. So the idea is for the APT, the actual owner of the device, it is unknown that somebody already hitting into your system. Okay, and gradually, slowly and slowly, because these guys are very, very patient and they are stealing the information from your computer. That's right. They're not damaging it. Okay. Okay, that's what I put one of the slides, like these advanced threat blocked by. I just put this slide there. So although APT attacks are difficult to identify, the theft of the data can never be completely invisible. Detecting anomalies in the outbound data is perhaps the best way for an administrator to discover that this network has been a target by an APT. So this attack, you can see, you have never seen this. For example, malicious content, these are blocked because of one of the, I would say, a vendor I'm using for somewhere. And I took this slide from there where it's showing that crypto mining, phishing, botnet callback, crossback, site scripting, these are blocked and they are detecting in the system and they're blocked as well. We detected and blocked 1607 instances of malicious content that could have infected by your user. So for example, some users are visiting to different websites or things like that, and by using maybe they have 30,000, 40,000 employees and they are going to different website or using some program, and by using these, and somebody try to gain access to that, and that particular program or a vendor actually detected these kind of anomalies into your system. Okay, let's just small description of these. Malicious content, malicious active content refer to the malicious code that is inserted into the scripting language. Malicious active content is used to embedded worms or viruses resulting in the collection of local user information as well as the other computer issues. Crypto mining, as you know, cryptocurrency, since the inventions of many cryptocurrency nowadays in the market, people are trying to maybe installing or downloading some kind of software into your computer, and people with the outside hacker knows that these kind of softwares are available, and mostly people are trying to access them or install them. By maybe they can do that, they can install some kind of malware or system on these program, or they can create some kind of maybe a program which look like a crypto mining program, but actually it is not. So as you can see, malicious crypto mining attacks jumped 956% from the first half of 2007 in the first half of 2000. Trend Micro researcher noted that there were more than these detections of malicious cryptocurrency mining software in the first 6 months of 2008. So you can see they are increasing because they know more and more users are looking after for some kind of software or program which can do some kind of mining for them. Okay, so hacker, what they're doing, they are infecting these kind of program, or they are designing some kind of fake program which can be installed on your machine. But by using some kind of program like, as you said, Trend Micro or some other vendor, they understand that the people are using, and if there is a malware or any viruses attached with these program, which normally cannot be detected by a normal antivirus, they detect or they can remove them. Phishing is a fraudulent attempt to obtain sensitive information such as username, password, or credit card detail, often for malicious reason, by distinguishing as a trustworthy entity in the electronic communication. So phishing is trying to get you the following link and provide information to the sender like a password. So I think Mansoor has already explained about the phishing. I don't think so we need to discuss that. Anybody has any question about the phishing? So I think every other day we might receive some kind of email every month from PayPal or somebody presenting, and they are asking you to log into this particular machine and give some user information, password, credit card information. They're trying to steal that information. Okay. Cross scripting is a type of injection security attack in which an attacker injects data such as malicious script into content from another trustworthy website from otherwise trusted website. Cross scripting attacker happen when an untrusted source is allowed to inject its own code into the web application, and that the malicious code is included with the dynamic content delivered to the victim browser. So I think at the end of here, I will, when I share you this, you need to understand the top 2017 attack, more about the network security, read more. And so there are some link behind the scene. I would advise you, if you want to have more understanding about some modern day attacks, maybe I missed few of them, but I would suggest continuously subscribe to yourself to different website. I also provided the link as well for you, and I also provided these links, for example, where you can understand the last top 10 2010 attacks as well, more about the network security. Okay. Yeah, so you can see in this Q2, browser, brute force attack, do not have such worm, viruses, malware, web scan, and other. These are the top attacks, as you can see. I can give you here in the chat button, or I will also send you the slides where you can further, understand these attacks as well. Okay. Yeah. Any question?
Maz, this social engineering attack basically it happens basically when somebody basically try to physically meet you and try to basically grab the sensitive information from your company and things like this. Is it like the? Yeah, is it more like that?
Let me see. So social engineering is an attack vector that relies heavily on the human interaction and often involves manipulating people into breaking normal security procedure and best practices in order to gain access to the system network of physical location by financial case. So not, these are the types of social attacks by USB, phishing, spear phishing, phishing, pretexting, spywares, scareware, water hole. So there are many of them, tons of attacks nowadays, to be honest. I mean, these are more likely the concept of more likely cyber security or information security, which can further provide you more, or maybe ethical hacking type of things, which give you more information. But nevertheless, you can read more about that. The social engineering is most likely populating tactics among the hacker, because it's often so exploiting the user weakness in finding the network software vulnerabilities. Yeah. Okay. The idea is actually not, I can't just cover everything, but just to give you enough information and explain you some of the key attacks, and then so you can know first of all, and then most likely you will be actually going to different website or find out and like this company, search, what is that? Search this one, Search Security Tech Target. It's a quite good forum to understand more about security and hackers and all these things and malware, all of them. Yeah. Okay. So if you subscribe to them, they might be sending you a lot of things. So guys, these are the attacks. Now we are going into some kind of discussion, most likely how the attacker, we know the attacks because we'll be working in the network and security engineering field very soon, or maybe already working. So how most likely the attacker can attack these things? First of all, types of attacks, stages, how they can launch an attack, stages. Today, attackers have abundance of target. In fact, their greatest challenge is to select the most vulnerable victim. This has resulted in a very well-planned structured attack. These attacks have common logistic and strategy. These include reconnaissance, scanning, gaining access, maintaining access, and covering these attacks. So reconnaissance, as we know, is a gathering the information about your network. Somebody if any intruder try to break into your house, he would like to know what time you come in the office, what time you go in the office, how many people are there, who is going on the job, who is going into the shopping, what time, so they keep circulating into your house if they have a plan to logging. So that is why the reconnaissance is gathering the information about your network. I think it's more like a military term. Scanning, they can scan, port scan, addresses scan, vulnerability scan. That is why nowadays there is a new vulnerability nowadays, VA. It's called what is called as a penetration testing. You know that. So penetration testing is also a separate subject and separate course nowadays, where the tester, hackers, penetration comes into your network and they assess your network by like a hacker. And your network then expose that these are the vulnerabilities are there, and then they suggest you what you need to do. So especially the website company, the company those are relying on the internet, just businesses on the internet, they do vulnerability assessment or testing every other month, for example, right? And once they have reconnaissance, once they know the network, once they scan the port, then they try to gain access. Once they gain access, then they try to maintain it as well and covering the tracks. So these are the stages how the attacker can actually launch an attack. Some of the tools I just mentioned, for example, NetView, NetUser, there are bundles of tools now available. Port scan, Nmap, Noses, vulnerability scanner, as you can see, Meta, Exploit, Core, Impact, ISSI, Sniffer, Wireshark. There are many hundreds of tools, cryptographic tools, cryptographic cracking tools, or also their malicious code, worm. So these are the different tools where people use, hacker can use them. Nowadays, even more sophisticated tools are available. Okay, so now we know the network security, we know the cyber security, we know the attacks, we know how people most likely they can attack to us. Some of them, for example, reconnaissance, gaining the access. Now, what can we do? Simple. That's the story behind the scene. What are the problems? How we can what are the area which we can protect? How the attacker can launch? Now, as a network security engineer, what are the countermeasures we can do? As we said, the network is not 100% protected. However, what we can do, we can minimize the risk. We can protect ourselves. At least we can install a camera where somebody can gain access, maybe do something, maybe steal something, but at least we can have his picture. So for example, what are the countermeasures we can have? We can have a DMZ, we can have a NAT. Everybody knows about NAT? No? Yes. Okay. NAT is known. Yes. Okay. DMZ, you know about the DMZ, or do you want me to expose it and explain it?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Okay, you want me to? Okay, the DMZ. Normally, the DMZ is a separate kind of network, which is not inside your. Okay, so let's say I work for a company ABC. Is my company. So let's say I just I have a web presence online, and this is, for example, let's say this is my firewall, and I have access to an outside world. Yeah, that is my internet. So we know the Amazon has a huge presence on the nowadays. Okay, they have a corporate office as well. Their employees are here. Printer, sensitive PC, laptop, and many other information. So very sensitive information inside the corporate network, always sitting here. Okay, so this is like a corporate office. They have many corporate office. I just have one zone. So now they have a web server as well. Guys, pay attention, is very important. So let's say they have a web server as well. Because they're relying on the internet. They have a web server, they have a SQL server, they have an email server. Most likely the web server which is exposed to the outside world on the internet. So every other day, every second, mostly company access that. So rather than I can actually keep my web server inside my corporate network, I can put them in a separate domain and I call it a DMZ. Okay, demilitarized zone. So the idea is I am isolated my exposed services to the outside world in a separate fashion, right? I don't want my expose my, for example, web server, DNS server. So I want to keep a separate than my corporate network. So the idea is this is the separate domain. So that is why this is inside, this is outside, this is a DMZ services server or a site where I am installing more commonly used services. Those are exposed to the outside world. So rather than I can keep inside my corporate network, because if this server is compromised, it will be impacted all of my sensitive information here as well. Okay. So rather than, and there is a phone as well, like the phone, right? So rather than I expose this network, I expose my DMZ, okay, to the outside world. Guys, there's some kind of noise actually. Kindly can you mute it? Okay. So what I'm doing here, I'm exposing only the services those are allowed in outside network. So this way, by taking this countermeasure or strategizing myself, I am making sure the services those are visible to the internet, they are physically and logically in a separate kind of zone, okay, and not in the corporate network. So corporate stays separate and DMZ stay separate. You got it? Clear? IPS, IDS we can install. Those are actually provide you the signature for your vulnerability. These are the vulnerability and they provide you the signature for them. Content filtering NACs, we can also apply that. Firewall proxy, we can also apply that. We are going to discuss about the firewall after this. Yes, sir?
These IDS and IPS, are they the like public signed CA certificates or?
No. IPS is intrusion detection. Okay, so they, for example, if they find any vulnerability, some attack into your computer, they just inform you that this happened. Okay, the IPS goes further. They not just stop you. They don't just alarm you, but they have the capability to stop them. So IDS mean intrusion detection system, and IPS mean intrusion prevention system. So they can go one step ahead. They can provide. So what normally happen? These vulnerability. We discuss about this vulnerability. Every vendor they have this vulnerability. Okay. So what we do? The IPS system is a separate physical box, or it can be integrated inside your next generation firewall as well. And they can protect you from all these vulnerability provided, discovered by the vendor, and they make sure the hacker should not actually exploit these vulnerability. That is the idea. Clear? Okay, so it's like extra layer of protection for the vulnerability. Content filtering, okay, like web filtering. And also the NAC. NAC is a network access control device, which makes sure the devices you are going to access, and then before they gaining access to the network, they will allow you to make sure that your system is meet to certain criteria. Okay. Firewall and proxy, we will be discussing these in more detail. AAA, everybody should be knowing that, I'm expecting. Policy and procedure and standard guideline, training and awareness. Right? This is a continuously procedure. You need to aware your user as well about different things happening outside. So any question about here before we start the firewall? Is a firewall.
Madhur bhai, sorry to interrupt. 1 second, like, what is the agenda for today's class? Like, is the like normal course started or?
No, sir. Today we are just only discussing up to the firewall. That's all. And after that, if you have any question, we are happy to answer. And after that, I will show you to how to access the system as well. So I'm just drawing one of the, for example, so in a typical network, which is, for example, you are in your network, you have a network which is kind of have multiple PC here. Yeah, so these are my computer connected. Okay, and that is connected to the router, and let's say this is connecting to 10.1.1.1/24, and then the other side is connecting to outside internet. Let's say this is the internet available here. Okay, and that is the network I'm connecting to 80.1.1.1/24. So you can see this is my separate. So in a typical router fashion, when we just don't have a firewall, so let's see this is router. So what is the router job is, they can help you, they can NAT your computer and help you to, understand, connect with the internet actually. So if this router job, when we don't have a firewall, when we don't have an access list, what it does actually, all the traffic from here and back here, it is allowed. Everything is allowed. So treat it like a router, a very big building in New York. Guys, there is a state building. What do you call that? A building which is very famous,
Empire
State Building. So let's say there is Empire State Building, and everybody is going in and coming back without any ticket or without any security. Everybody is happy chappy. But now the thing is, we don't know who is coming. We don't have any kind of security mechanism. Everybody is allowed to come inside and outside, and everybody is happy. We don't have any security. Okay, so for example, when you go into any office, so initially the first day you go in, you don't have a badge. They might give you a temporary card, and after 1 hour, 2 hours, they give you your passes as well. And then once you have the passes, you come into the network, you come into the security in your office, you touch the card, you go in and you come out. Okay, at a certain time. If you need to go outside, now you have some kind of security mechanism. Somebody actually, once you enter the building, they know who you're coming. They might see your pass and everything. They can have the log that what time you're coming as well. So security, we know that many attacks are existing on the outside world. How we can protect them? That we can't actually 100% stop, but actually we can protect them. Clear? So what we do is, now we actually create a firewall. Now instead of firewall, a router here, I'm just saying, let's say we have a firewall now. So with the help of firewall, I'm saying this is my firewall now. So the idea of the firewall, it creates a separate boundary for inside user and outside user as well. So it creates some kind of wall that, okay, it can keep track who is going outside and who is coming inside, and and most importantly, who can come from the outside. Most likely you can go out, but who can come outside. And also you can physically now define your policy. Previously, when you have a router, everything was open. Everybody from the outside can go inside. But now we want some kind of restrictions out there. So we install a firewall, and the idea of the firewall installation is to give only access to those those are legitimate user. That is the idea, and segregate them as well, and get the logs as well. Okay. So now we are coming into the achieving the goal of the network security. Anybody still remember the goal of the network security? CIA, remember? Okay. A system designed to prevent unauthorized access to or from the internet, to and from the internal network. So this is a WAN area, so firewall is now a separate boundary between LAN and WAN. Types of firewall. First generation firewall, which is like a packet generation firewall. So Shahid Bhai, you said you only aware about the access list. I don't need to explain that, or do I need to explain that what is a packet generation firewall? Packet filtering firewall. Okay, so first type, at the CCNA level, maybe 20 years ago or whenever you have done the CCNA, we all know there is access list existing. And access list only look for the source, destination, and the port number. Okay, they don't know after that, right? They just know this is the person, he's going to this destination, is it allowed or it is not allowed. That's it. They don't have much intelligence behind the scene. And also the access lists have another problem. Which? The problem. Anybody knows the problem, guys? The problem is, let's say this PC. Okay, Mansoor has this PC. Okay. And
this that everything is allowed unless you disallow it?
Yeah, I'll come back to that. So what happened, let's say you have access list here. And you have a destination here which says 8.8.8.8. Okay? Shahid bhai, I need your attention. Everybody needs your attention. So Mansoor PC, we have an access list here, and that access list is saying source, everybody knows about the port 53 and port 80?
Yes.
Okay, good. So we have this access list, guys. So now Mansoor comes in. On this interface, we said if this guy wishes to go here, allow him. Okay? So we allow this, that this guy can go in. Now, routing point of view, when this guy leave and access the DNS server, this is the DNS, Google DNS server, guys. So somebody, Mansoor PC is coming here, is seeing the access list. Now, tell me, what will be the source address? 10 and destination address this. How about the return traffic? Tell me, how can you explain the return traffic? Shahid bhai, what happened in the return traffic?
Return should be allowed actually. All should be
allowed. What you need to allow here? You need to allow on this interface, remember? Because that is a separate interface. That is totally a separate interface. So you need to allow some kind of traffic so this guy can come back again and access to the inside network. How can we do it? What will be the source address and what will be the destination address? Please, guys. Source address?
8.8, public address, sorry. Yeah, 8.8, yeah. Because the problem with the access list is stateless actually. Yeah, so you have to basically allow in a both way, basically.
Thank you very much. That's the point I'm actually clarifying. So, Shahid bhai, the problem with the access list, when you apply the access list here, you need to apply another access list as well, because it cannot keep track in the table who is going, even though he's a legitimate user, Mansoor is a legitimate user, he is allowed to come in outside, but once the return traffic comes in, his source IP will be changed. Everybody is clear about the source IP, guys?
Right, yeah? Yes.
Why the source IP change, right? Because when you for example go from your house to your airport, what is the famous airport in New York, guys? JF, right? JFK. So if you go from your house to JFK, when you want to return to your house, the source will be JFK and destination will be your house, right? Isn't it?
Right. Yes.
Yeah. So when you come back, your destination source will be distant and destination. So that is why you need to have two kind of access list here. You need to maintain one access list here, one entrance in here. And if your network grows up, it's a problem every time you need to update the access list for many sources and destination. So you cannot keep track of this information. Clear? So simply you want this kind of scenario when you have a pass to access to the building. Once you go outside to the lunch, when you come back again, nobody should ask you, because you just touch in, the system knows that this card is already authorized, he will allow you. So that is why you need to maintain two kind of access list here. So the problem with access list, first generation firewall, that you cannot keep track what is going on here. So with the help of second generation firewall, stateful filtering firewall, now what we have put some kind of intelligence in the firewall in the second generation, which actually have a state table. It builds the state table. It say Mansoor is the source, this is the destination. It leaves my trusted network to the untrusted network, and now it is coming back into the network again. It will consult the state table first. It say, oh, this is Mansoor, this is the destination, this is the port number, this is the sync packet, this is the acknowledgement packet, this is the sync acknowledgement packet, this is the port number, everything, this is the timer, and because I have the entry here, there is no need for access list here. So stateful firewall actually resolving this problem. Any questions, sir? So everybody's clear about first generation firewall, second generation firewall. So far Cisco ASA firewall, old one, is a stateful firewall, and now they are coming into the application layer aware firewall. So we'll discuss more about the application layer firewall here in the next coming slide. But the idea is packet filtering firewall, they mostly permanent deny based on the application layer 4, such as protocol, source, destination, port number. Packet filtering firewall such as the access list, ACL. So you can see they mostly work up to here. Okay. Even stateful filtering firewalls, they don't work up to application layer, they only work up to transport layer. Okay. So they don't have much intelligence behind the scene, but any application, any firewall which can go up to the application layer firewall, it is more protective, it is more intelligent. So now the next is a stateful firewall. We already discussed that. While packet filtering only look at an individual packet at a time, using stateful packet filtering inspection, firewall are able to retain packet until there is enough information to make a yes or no decision. Stateful firewall are still used today, but that is starting to change. Now we are coming in the next generation firewall, which is called Palo Alto, Fortinet, Checkpoint. All these devices are now next generation firewall. So let's understand what is the intelligence behind the scene. So next generation firewall is a type of firewall which is integrated network platform that combine the traditional firewall, like the packet filtering as well. It is stateful as well. However, in addition to that, devices filtering functionality such as the application firewall using the inline deep packet inspection. So what they do, they not just look the port number or even the the source, destination, and the port number, but they also open the header and see is it definitely an HTTP packet, or is it definitely a DNS packet? Because now we put some kind of intelligence behind the scene, so that application firewall can reach up to layer 7. Okay, so we put some kind of, so they can be IPS as well. They have SSL and SSH interception, website filtering, QoS bandwidth management, antivirus inspection, third-party integration, even Active Directory as well. So you can see previously we discussed different attacks. Now by using these things, now we can see the next generation firewall is even more, can protect your network at a next level. That is why more and more companies are discarding their existing firewall, moving to different Palo Alto or next generation firewall, because these firewall can do much more than any other firewall. They can actually categorize the application. For example, look at this. Okay, so I can give you an example. When a packet comes into your house, Shahid bhai, when you receive a packet in your house, there is a source address written. For example, some mail comes in. Okay, when you receive a packet without opening it, okay, you know this is the source, this is the destination, and this is the friend who sent me this letter. But actually, you cannot scan what is inside. Maybe inside there is some malicious intent. Maybe inside there is a niche virus or worm. The first generation firewall or second generation firewall, they do not have the capability to understand and detect any kind of viruses or worms or attacks or some kind of vulnerability inside that. Now we put some kind of intelligence. We integrate the firewall with the IPS, with the antiviruses, with the URL filtering, and now they're doing much more, not just packet filtering only. So you can see nowadays we have defined many applications. Skype has different application. So now we make sure that this is definitely a HTTPS packet, or Facebook application now has been categorized. We have user policies, and we can now, based on the different application, we can now put, and even the firewall is able to detect the antivirus, spyware, botnets, and worms as well. And they can do much more things than the previous firewall. Okay?
Yes, yeah.
That's the idea, guys. So far, I'm sure it's like, so far that is the end of the topic. So far we have covered attacks. So I treated you that you have no idea about any network security. We discuss about the different threats and attacks. We discuss the goal of the security. Then we discuss the countermeasure. Then we also see how the people can launch an attack. We discuss about some of the very advanced threat prevention as well. And then we discuss about the firewall, because the course you guys will be doing, it's more related to the firewall, which is a perimeter device actually. Okay, which is the heart of any company anyway. Every company has to deploy the firewall internally, externally. Sometimes the position of the firewall is different. Some company protect their inside network, sometimes the outside network. Sometimes the packet is entered to one firewall, it goes to another firewall, and then it goes to another firewall. There is a multi-layers of different firewall inside your network. That can happen. And that usually happen in the finance industry mostly.
Different vendors or same vendors?
Different vendors, sir. Different vendors. So maybe you enter your perimeter device is Palo Alto, your inside network is Fortinet, maybe the server side network is Cisco. It is different company based on a different criteria, budget, feature, support. They have a different criteria to as per their application they design it.
Okay. Okay.
So far so good, sir. Guys, any question?